Okay, today we are doing 4-4, and 4-4 is all about expanding expressions using the distributive property. So, starting with example 1, a family farm plans to add a blueberry patch to the end of their apple orchard. What is the total area of land that will be covered by the blueberry patch and apple orchard? So remember, if we're finding the area of a rectangle, the formula is area equals length times width. Okay? Now, if we look at this, we can see that the width is 1.5 kilometers. Okay? And we can see that the length of the apple orchard is 2.5 kilometers. But we don't know what this piece is. And since we don't know what this piece is, we need a variable for it. I'm going to call it B for blueberry patch. So from here to here is B. So what that means is that this side is 1.5, and it needs to be multiplied by this side. Now this entire side, if this is B and this is 2.5, the entire side is B plus 2.5. So what we're doing is we're taking the 1.5 and we're multiplying it by B plus 2.5. You have to put it in parentheses so the 1.5 gets distributed to both terms. Okay, so now if we multiply this, 1.5 times B is 1.5B. Make sure you always put the coefficient in front. Don't put B 1.5. That doesn't make sense. 1.5B plus 1.5 times 2.5 is 3.75. So the expression that represents the total area is 1.5b plus 3.75. Next, the triad says, what is the expanded form of the expression 3.6 times the quantity t plus 5? So this 3.6 needs to get distributed to t, and it needs to get distributed to 5. So basically, t plus 5, so this is the 3.6, the width, and then t plus 5 would go here, okay? So we need to multiply now. 3.6 times t is 3.6t, and then we have to also multiply the 3.6 times 5. You don't have to use these boxes if they confuse you. You really don't, honestly. Sometimes they are confusing. It's just kind of breaking it down into more steps. So 3.6 times t is 3.6t plus 3.6 times 5 is 18. So 3.6t plus 18 is the expanded expression. There's another blank here. 3.6 times t is 3.6t. Example 2. Okay. Now we have to expand expressions with a variable in the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this expression, we're going to draw our arrows, so we need to distribute the x to the negative 2, and we need to distribute the x to the negative 0.5y. So x times negative 2 is negative 2x. Be careful with your signs, that negative doesn't go away. X times negative 0.5y is negative 0.5xy, or you could put yx. They're multiplied together, so the x gets attached onto the y here. So you could either put yx or xy. Typically, you order your variables in alphabetical order. Okay, so that's the expanded expression. Next, let's do the triad. T times negative 1.2w is negative 1.2 tw. T times 3 is 3t, so plus 3t. Next, expand more complex expressions. So we have a fraction here, but it doesn't really mean it's any harder. So we need to distribute the negative 1/3 to 2, to negative 3x, and to 3. Negative 1/3 times 2 is negative 2/3. Negative 1/3 times negative 3 is, a negative times a negative is a positive, so it would be positive 3/3, and positive 3/3 is just 1x. So plus 1x, or you could just write plus x. Negative 1/3 times negative 3 is positive 3/3 x, and 3/3 x is just 1x, okay? Next, negative 1/3 times positive 3. Negative times a positive is a negative. 1/3 of 3 is 1, so negative 1. Okay, so now we have to do is we have to combine like terms. We're not done. You might think we're done, but we're not. We can combine negative 2/3 and 1. Really, negative 1. How are we going to do that? Well, we need a common denominator. If I have thirds here, I need thirds here. How many thirds? 3/3. 3/3 is the same thing as 1. Now, negative 2/3 minus 3/3 is negative 5/3 plus x. Next, the try it. You should probably try this on your own and check and see if you're right. We're going to distribute negative 2/5 to all three terms. Negative 2/5 times 10, okay? So that's the same thing as negative 2/5 times 10 over 1. Remember, when we multiply that, we can cross reduce. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 10 twice. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Next, negative 2/5 times 15. We could do the same thing. Negative 2/5 times 15 over 1. Cross reduce. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 15 3 times. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, and then we have an n. Next, negative 2/5 times negative 20. Negative 2/5 times negative 20 over 1. A negative times a negative is a positive, remember that. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into negative 20 4 times. 2 times 4 is 8, so plus 8n. And that's it for that. We don't have any like terms. You can't combine m's and n's, okay? So that's it. Next, we're going to do the do you know how questions together. Okay, so it says shoes and hats are on sale. The expression 1/4 times the quantity S plus $24.80 can be used to determine the discount when you buy shoes with a retail price of S dollars and hats with a total retail price of $24.80. Write another expression that can be used to determine the discount. So all we need to do here is we need to distribute. So what we're going to do is our original expression was 1/4 times the quantity S plus $24.80. We can distribute 1/4 to the S and 1/4 to $24.80. 1/4 times S is 1/4 S. 1/4 times $24.80 is $6.20. So plus $6.20. So that's your simplified expression. Okay, expand x times the quantity 4 minus 3.4y. We're going to distribute x to both terms. X times 4 is 4x. X times negative 3.4y is negative 3.4xy. And last but not least, negative 2/10 we're going to distribute to 1, distribute to negative 2x, and distribute to positive 2. Negative 2/10 times 1 is negative 2/10. Negative 2/10 times negative 2x, well, negative 2/10 times negative 2 over 1. We can cross reduce. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 2 goes into 2 once. So we have a negative times a negative, which is a positive, and 2 times 1 is 2 over 5. So plus 2/5 x. And last but not least, we have negative 2/10 times positive 2. So it's going to really be the same thing as this, except it's going to be negative because we have a negative and a positive, and when that makes a negative. So negative 2/10 times positive 2 is minus 2/5. Okay, so now what we can do is we can combine like terms. Negative 2/10 and negative 2/5 can be combined. We just have to make sure we make a common denominator. So negative 2/10 minus 2/5 plus 2/5 x. So this we have to make into tenths. So we can make that. I'm going to go up here. We have negative 2/10, and then we can make the bottom a 10 here, the denominator. If we make the denominator a 10 here, the numerator becomes a 4 because we're multiplying by 2. And then we have the plus 2/5 x. Now, negative 2/10 minus 4/10 is negative 6/10, and then plus 2/5 x. You can also reduce this if you want. So divide by 2, so that becomes negative 3/5 plus 2/5 x. Another way to write this is 2/5 x minus 3/5, right? Positive 2/5 x, negative 3/5. So either way, either one is right. Okay, what you're going to do now is the practice some problem solving. If the boxes confuse you, do not use the boxes. You do not have to use the boxes, okay? You are doing both pages today. All right, have a good day.